Hi, can you guys hear me? Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Who's here today? Voice for the voiceless. Hi, voices. Sassy since birth. Steph B. Nithoven. Moin, moin. Haha. Thank you so much for coming in. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Put a 1, please, if you can. Hey, Ramblin' Rome. How is everybody today? Burden of Proof, thanks so much for showing up, hon. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence and what that means. And I'm going to be doing an open panel. So I want y'all to come up and talk to me about it. And this isn't an answer, y'all. I wish I had an answer to life and make everybody happy and a peaceful place to live on earth. But I don't have the answers. But, I think maybe if we look at stuff, then we might be able to, figure some stuff out and help make our little corner of the world. So bear with me here for just a sec, and I'll be right back. I'm back. Hey. Oh, who else came in? Nicole, how do I make you a mod? Would you mind it? Okay, so Nicole's here. Hi, Burden of Proof. Lucy Cat, hi. Cynthia, Ramblin' Rome, Jingle 78, Peppermint Smocha. Yeah, y'all hit that like and share this out if you can. And I'm still trying to get here we go. I'm still trying to get used to doing all this stuff. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to do something, but here's the thing. I want to, at Burden of Proof sent me that bunny. She said she thought of me when she saw it. And so I thought, since today is Beaster, Happy Zombie Jesus Day, whatever you guys call it, I'd change it over. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is kind of do a giveaway for my faithful followers. And if you've attended 4 of my lives and commented afterwards, then I'm going to give out a $25 Amazon gift card. And that would just be through your email. And then you can use the code in your Amazon thing. So it's not going to be any doxing sort of deal. But in order to enter, what I need, you got Zombie Jesus Day. Yeah, my stepdaughter is a witch, and that's what she calls it. I'm sorry. I know it's heretical, but anyway. But if you guys could type in the chat exclamation point EI, that's going to enter you into this drawing. So it's exclamation point EI, like emotional intelligence. Hi, Ellie. How are you, babe? Thanks so much for coming in today. So, real quick, I did put up some Gramma borough rules, and in case you're new or your first time watching, this is the borough, which is a nice, safe, warm place to discuss things that might be uncomfortable for some. But there's always room for opinions, for us to grow and to think about some different things. And burrow also means to dig deep. So we'll dig into some stuff that maybe we don't think about and just kind of open our minds. Anybody ever heard the term "okay boomer"? If you've heard "okay boomer," let me know what that means. And I'm asking because I'm a boomer. Technically, it means somebody born after World War II, between 1946 and 1963, which is the baby boom. Woohoo! Soldiers came back and we had babies. Nope. All right, old timer. Yeah, that means. Yep. Hey, Cambry, welcome in, babe. You're not late. Okay, so okay boomer was kind of started a few years ago. It was in response to a TikTok video of this old guy ranting about how Generation X through Z, I don't think we have a Generation Y, but anyway, are a Peter Pan generation that doesn't want to grow up. And so they said, okay, boomer. So it kind of took on a life of its own. And okay, boomer is basically a response to older people. Hi, dear Krabby. Welcome in, sweetheart. Happy Easter. It's a response or a retort to someone who's closed-minded. People that have a perceived resistance to technological changes and climate change and the opposition to younger generations' opinions about what needs to change. Okay, boomer. And it's just another way that we kind of separate each. I'm Gen X, 68. Was that done, Gen X, like we don't know, like the X in math? Like we don't know. I don't know how that started. But anyway, so because I'm old and because I'm autistic, I've had to experience things in a different way. And I've had to learn some different things and how to handle them. And trying to understand, because if you saw my other video about my autistic brain, I felt like I grew up on the wrong planet. Like I wasn't human. I didn't understand how these people thought. And it gave me a problem for many, many years. But I've been through years of therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. Hey, Cotton Candy. Hi, sweetheart. It's given me the ability to look at myself more and how to get along in my life, in my brain, in my body, and make a change for the better. And so that kind of leads into the emotional intelligence part. So we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, but what do you think emotional intelligence is? Hey, True Texan. Oh, happy Easter, sweetheart. So what is emotional intelligence? Is that somebody who's like in Mensa, it's an Albert Einstein, or what is that? Oh, Ramblin' Roan, that's fine. Oh, I wish I had grandbabies running in and out. Have a good day, hon. Catch replay, whatever. Make sure to like. Make sure to share if you can. and make sure to leave a comment. Once again, giving away a $25 Amazon gift card after 4 attendances here and comments. So if you want to enter that and you haven't already, type exclamation point EI. And I've got this StreamYard tool giveaway. I've only got 6 entries so far, but that's okay. 22 in the house. So basically, to understand this, and I'm kind of giving you guys a foundation so that anybody who wants to jump up on panel, we'll have kind of a guideline to go by to talk about these things. So our brains, because of the primal lizard brain sort of thing, are hardwired to remember negative experiences so that we don't have to experience them again. If we were out and we were hunting and picking berries and there was a saber-toothed tiger that came out at us, then that's something we remembered. Okay, that thing is dangerous. It ate Kyle, and we need to kill it or avoid it. Negative experiences are what our brains are hardwired to get to. So, hey, Blunt Bee, how are ya? Thanks for coming in, hon. So emotional intelligence, what do we think that is? Nye says, I think it describes the skill level to what extent you can put yourself in others' shoes. Yeah, empathy. That's a good one. Okay. So emotional intelligence is actually defined as the ability to understand or identify and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. Okay. So there's actually 4 segments we're going to go through, and I'm not exactly sure this is right, but I'm going to try this. Boop. Anybody want to come up? Anyone? I'm going to put the StreamYard link. I think that's it. There's only a few people that aren't welcome. Any private investigators, they're not welcome. Just kidding. But yeah, if you want to talk to me about this, go ahead and come up. So the 4 sections that we're going to talk about are self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship management. And there's actually some guidelines or some points to those. Have you ever done or said something that you regretted later? You're like, dang, I shouldn't have said that. Or I shouldn't have responded that way. Or, hey, Peppermint Smoke, did I already say hi to you? How do I pin a comment? Nope. I don't know. I'm still learning. Yes. Well, come on up. Let's talk about stuff. Yeah, so we all have regrets. And after you've done or said something that you think, wow, that was kind of wrong, what have you done after that? Have you thought about it? Why did that happen? What could I have done better? Hey, Sleuth Mom. Thank you, sweetheart. All my mods, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Um, the mod squad is great. Click on the dots to the right of the comment, and then you will see the option to pin. Is that in YouTube, babe? No, because I can either put myself in timeout or block me. Hang on. Let me do this. So yes, giveaway. Hang on just a sec. $25 Amazon gift card if you're here 4 times. And you bear with me here just a second. You doo-be-doo-be-doo. Doo-be-doo-be-doo. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. So I had to do it on the YouTube dealio. Yeah, so I got 9 entries. But if you want to be entered in that giveaway, I'm just trying to encourage people to show up, help me out because, oh, hey, Nanya.
Good afternoon. Happy Easter. If you celebrate, happy Easter.
Thank you so much. How do I know it's really you?
Well, you can make you be the only thing on screen when somebody comes up, and that way nobody bombs you or does anything like that.
Oh, you know
And
what?
you can see down at the bottom of Stream. Are you in StreamYards? Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Down at the bottom of StreamYards, when somebody comes backstage, you can see like their picture or whatever at that time. Yeah.
Okay. So I can do that.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll get used to this. This is the first time I've had an open panel. How are you today?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. I was doing housework earlier this morning, and yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I love the sound of the birds behind you.
I'm sorry, I'm outside right now. So once I go inside, they'll be quiet.
Oh, no, no, no. I love that sound. I love birds. Yeah. So, emotional intelligence is what we're going to be talking about today. And I know that you're very familiar with this. I've heard you talk about this before, and people have touched on it before. No, we don't want any peen bombs. Um, so I will get used to this. I promise you guys. I'm just not used to doing this thing yet. And I'm trying to be consistent. But anyway, so tell me, Nanya, we were talking about things that we regret that we've done. Have you done something you regretted? Your reaction to it, or something you said,
Oh, of course.
and what happened after that? Did you just go along your merry way and double down on your
No.
stupidity?
No. I've always been a person who, I'm responsible for me, right? Which means me, my words, me, my actions, me, my, anything, right? And so if I mess up, like it's very important to me to own it, even if the person doesn't accept, an apology or accept my explanation or whatever the case may be. Like I'll move on from there, but it's important for me to have owned it. I don't double down on it, like, and I do have emotional reactions, but part of that emotional intelligence is knowing if I'm emotionally triggered right now for whatever, whether it's in my personal life or on the internet or at work, whatever, it's okay. I need to take a step back. I need to process my own emotions and figure out why this is bothering me so much. Once I figured that out, then I can speak on it at that point.
Yeah, cool. I've actually got these things here. Hang on. Um, so we talked about this. It's the emotional intelligence is defined as the ability to understand, to identify, and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. I um I used to be in a position where I was called a subject matter expert for an insurance company for their customer service, which basically means the person that you called in to make your payment or say, hey, I need to add a new car, or Junior got his license, that sort of thing. those were what we called front end people. They answered the phone. Thank you for calling insurance company. This is Sherry. How can I help? Um, and my role was above that. So basically, if the frontline person didn't understand what they wanted, or it was something really complex and they didn't know how to do it, they would place the caller on hold and they would call me or my team, you know. But usually the calls that I got were people that they pissed off, people that, because typically when you call in somewhere and you have a problem, you're not really in the best frame of mind. You want it fixed, you want it fixed now. And people who aren't trained in emotional intelligence and trained how to handle situations, they can escalate them. And those are the calls that I got. So I had a lot of training in de escalation. And that was very helpful for me being autistic because it was then, that was about 20 something years ago. But that was very helpful for me because being autistic, it's hard for us to recognize our emotions and the physical feelings that go along with it. Like you said, to know your triggers, whether your shoulders are getting tight or your stomach is in a knot or you're gritting your teeth or, something along that line, the physical manifestations of what's going on in your emotions. Um, so learning how to de-escalate these things was very, very helpful for me. And that comes under this self-management. You're able to control impulsive feelings and behaviors and manage your emotions in healthy ways, take initiative, follow through on commitments, and be adapt to changing. And that's where it comes up
Yeah.
into keeping an open mind. What do you think about that?
I think, well, two things. One thing that's crazy is I actually work in a similar industry. And so when you're getting calls from people who, sometimes they've lost a loved one in an accident, or they have, lost a job because of injuries, due to an accident, stuff like that. You really have to come outside of yourself and think about somebody else's emotions and really have that empathy. But when you're applying it to how you react to things, I really I stand behind self management. One of the biggest things I say is, I like when people in chats will put, as far as internet goes, we'll put trigger warnings so that people are aware that there's a possibility that this may trigger you, right? But when the conversation continues, the place I struggle with is, my triggers are my responsibility. They're not the responsibility of somebody else, because you can't go around managing everybody's triggers. It would be impossible, right? At the same time, you're putting a trigger warning out so that if this is something that, we're about to discuss something really rough here, kind of a thing, then people can be aware of that. But if you choose to continue the conversation, and I choose, if it's one of my triggers and I choose not to walk away, I really struggle with people putting that on that creator that continues the conversation because of their own triggers. That is self-management, is saying, I know that, let's just say, everybody is very passionate about kids being harmed in any way, normally,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
not going to go that far into it, but anytime you talk about that subject, it is going to invoke an emotion inside of every person if they have any type of human feelings,
Yes.
So self-management comes in and saying, how far can I go into this conversation? How much can I listen to this conversation without it affecting my peace, without it affecting my own mental health or sobriety or whatever the case may be? And I think sometimes, one of the things I've seen over the 8 months of being here is just there is not a lot of self-management. and people just let their words fly. And I get it can be so hard to keep yourself in check, but I just think I think it's very, very important.
I agree with you. Yeah. And it's the impulsive feelings that I think that people need to stop and realize instead of just spouting off something. And if you look at the scroll at the bottom, these are Gramma house rules. Hey, fur baby lover, how are you, sweetheart? Denise Oles, welcome in. Who did I miss? Labia, how are you, girl? Yes, you're never going to live that down. Prince Harry. Okay, so our borough rules, all right, that everybody's welcome, but you need to use your inside voice when talking to the panel and to other chatters. That means that if you have things that you're going to say, you're effing stupid, why would you think that? You're going to be timed out. Okay, my mods are going to time you out. And if you don't follow that, then we're going to have a problem. You might get blocked. Okay, I'm going to ask you to please misspell any cursey or salty words just because of the YouTube algorithm. No bashing or doxing of anybody. Don't trans bash, don't intelligence bash, don't we don't do that here. Okay, this is a safe place for everybody. And don't make me use my grandma voice. I know that most of the people that have been popping up in here are really cool people, and I love y'all so much. Thank you. But hang on. Oh, we have a guest.
Nicole says she wants to hear your grandma voice.
Oh, you know what? It's been so long since I used the grandma voice. I'm not exactly sure that I need to. Let's see. Let me try. Nicole, don't make me tell you again. Is that grandma voice? I'm going to have Ellie jump up with this. Hey, baby, can you hear
Hey,
me?
yeah, could you hear me?
Yes, yes.
How you guys doing?
Hi, Ellie.
Good.
Hey, good, Nanya. Hey,
Hey,
Grandma
how's it going?
Sherry. I'm
Hey.
good. It's so crazy. I've been thinking about this very topic for the last, 24 hours, but the last like couple of weeks, I'm dealing with something in my real life that has to do with some of this and that impulse control. Like when you want to respond and you have to take a breath and like don't do it, like it's hard, especially when it's like real life things happening. So I
Yeah.
just really appreciate it's like, wow, I can't believe she's talking about these things that I've been thinking about, like self-awareness, like people like not being aware of like their own like role in something. It's just really, and you see it more like exaggerated, I feel like, in this YouTube space, but when it's out like in the world, it's different. There's like a big barrier with the screen and with the chat that we don't have when we're dealing with like people in our lives.
Do you think that it's harder to have emotional intelligence on the internet, or you think it's harder to have it in real life?
Hmm. I feel like it's easier on the internet, truthfully, like because in real life it's real, and it's
Yeah.
like there's like more consequences, and I feel like that's why the things get kind of ugly with the internet compared to like a real life situation where like you wouldn't like keep going with people that you don't want anything to do with. But where, like in this space, they're just popping up in your timeline, people are talking about them, they're just around. It's a different kind of like you know what I mean? It's a different kind of
Yeah.
a space than the real world.
I think also in real life, there's situations, whether it be at work or at home or with family, whatever, friends, where like, on the internet, you can shut YouTube off and go to another app or go read a book or go spend time with family, whatever. But in real life, it's like sometimes there's conversations and conflict happening. And so I think you can't always just like walk away from that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you could just
I
turn off YouTube and you could be like, okay, goodbye. You
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
I think that would be good if people could learn to do that, to step away. Um, I know that I mod for a few channels, and some of them cover things like the Gannon case, Gannon stock,
Mhm.
and that is triggering. It's triggering for me, and I can't be up in there too often because I tend to visualize what they're saying, um, because
Mm.
that's the way I do everything in my life. Is when I hear something, it comes with a visualization. So so I've started doing this thing. Hey, New Zealand Mysteries, TJ, how are you, babe? It's already Monday there for her. Steph B, did I say hi? Pecan pie. Pecan
So
pie.
Steph B
Pecan.
said it's neat because this is what I do for a living. I teach others about individual differences so that they can learn to perspective shift, etc.
I love that. That's
I
Yeah,
love
everything.
that too.
That's like a big
yeah.
part of like our society that we need to focus on because I feel like that would solve like 90% of problems, that
That's
exist.
my thinking too, and that's why I wanted to do this and kind of delve into this more because I did something um alexithymia because people with autism oftentimes have trouble recognizing their emotions. And then
What
that
is the alexithymia?
alexithymia is the ability, well, the inability to recognize an emotion. It's just a physical sensation, it's a mental anxiety, and you don't know where it comes from. So that led me down the rabbit hole, or off on a rabbit trail to into emotional intelligence because alexithymia. Mm, let's see.
So can I ask a question? And pardon my ignorance, I don't know much. I actually didn't know until you said it a moment ago that you were autistic. So um, that's like, I think that's great because there's a lot of education that can happen for people, especially when you are learning other perspectives. But are you saying that when it comes for your experience, you, instead of being able to connect with people on an emotional level, you feel emotions on more of a physical level? Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay, before I went through, I've gone through a lot of cognitive based cognitive based therapy, which has helped me to stop and be introspective. Now, I'm a level 1 or Asperger's, the way people refer
Mhm.
to it. So, for a while because and this is weird, but being autistic, I kind of really identified with Mr. Spock from Star Trek because to me everything had to be logical and I had to know the
Yeah.
details and all that kind of thing. And so when it came down into emotions, um, I knew that I knew the proper things to say, and I knew that well, I learned what's appropriate behavior. I mean, I was never a kid that threw tantrums in the store or because I've always been verbal, but people deeper into the autism spectrum that are nonverbal, um, they still have the same emotions and thought processes that we do. They can't express them. And so it's just like living in this massive world of confusion because you don't know what they are or what's going on or how you can do it. So a lot of the stuff I've learned through my autistic therapy, if you
Mm.
will, I realized that it actually applies to everybody.
Mhm.
It's not just directed toward the autistic community. Hi, Enamoy. How are you, sweetheart?
Because
Follow
it's
the
so
Green
hard
said
to
Star
read
Trek triggers
everybody.
her.
Yeah.
Star Trek triggers you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
Is it
curious, how do you react when, especially as a mod and as a creator, how do you, and you too as well, Ellie, how do you react in a chat where you see that somebody is just emotionally reacting? Like, how does that, do you feel any way towards that? Do you correct it at all, or do you just let them go?
well, it kind of depends upon the creator because every creator has different guidelines for what they want to allow in their chat and
Okay.
when it has to be addressed. Um, I think, well, like Deets on the streets, she'll let just about anything fly as long as it's not bashing and hate filled, because she's really open to opinions. And if people want to express them here, and I think people express things on the internet, especially in chats and in comments and things like that, when they're safely, in their living room or in their den or whatever on their computer, that they would say and impulsively respond to something, or I would say react rather than respond, because of that safety. Because a lot of things said would not be said face to face, because
Absolutely.
So many things. That's like a big problem that I have with, not a
Yeah.
problem, but one of my issues with the internet is like you would never say those things if you weren't typing it or, or if you weren't behind the screen or, like it's different, you know, when you're face to face with somebody, even on the phone and text messaging. Like there's so much lost in translation, I think.
there really
And it's,
is. And
yeah.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I just think that like a lot of this has happened with technology, like with text messaging, and there's no affect, there's no tone. Like I've even heard that
Yes.
there's a thing called nexting, where like two teenagers or whatever will sit next to each other and text each other because
Mm.
it's easier to text than it is to talk to each other. And I think so. This like rapid acceleration of our technology is like probably leading more towards this like lack of emotional intelligence because we can't read people anymore. We could hardly read these text messages. We have to like decipher them, in a way without any affect, and we're not face to face anymore as much, so that's a problem too, with certain things, with certain relationships,
Yeah. Hi, Frankie Hopkins. Welcome up. Steph B., I really think you would be so helpful. There's only 31 people in the room, and I'm nervous as heck right now. I am gummy Liz today, y'all. Hi,
Look at
Willow.
you being Steph B, you'll be fine. It's like talking on the phone. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like on a panel, right? It's totally,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
worse than you would ever. It's scarier than you
And
definitely
it's
are
smaller
thinking.
here, so it makes a big difference because it's not like there's, thousands of people watching you and everybody's waiting to listen to what you have to say, kind of a thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Don K, welcome in. For those of you just joining, I am doing like an attendance sort of thing, trying to get people to come back. And so I'm doing a giveaway of a $25 Amazon gift card through email. You can use a totally burner email and then just use the code in your Amazon. But if you want to be entered in that, just type exclamation point EI, it's like emotional intelligence, in there, and I'll do a winner. Then what we'll do is at the end of the people that attended for all four of the sessions, we'll draw a winner. And if I actually sell some of my stuff, then we might draw two winners. But anyway, yeah,
I
Steph B, come on, baby,
come on in.
come on, come on.
I think one of the things for me is I do see where social media, the internet, it makes a perfect storm for being able to emotionally disconnect from your responses and your reactions. Um, I think for me, like, I'm just a little bit, I don't know, maybe because it's important to me. Like for my kids as they were growing up, it was important for me to discuss their emotions because they had to understand that, like, how they react could potentially affect a person, but also imperative that they have tough conversations. And so like learning that perfect balance between the two was important. And they grew up, during a time where social media was everything, um I don't know.
No, exactly. And I think that's what's lacking. And I don't know when it stopped because when I was a kid, uh, way back, we didn't have electricity yet. And no,
Oh
uh,
god.
but dude, really, I mean, I was in high school when the microwave got popular.
Oh.
Woo. Yeah. So basically, a lot of the stuff that I talk about and whatnot, I'm not licensed in anything. I do have a
Mm-mm.
driver's license, but I'm just talking out of life experiences, and I want to talk about things that I see
Mm-hmm.
and I wonder about, that sort of thing. But anyway, so Tony, oh hi baby, hi Tony,
Hi,
welcome in.
Montana.
Montana Jade's here. Frankie Hopkins,
Mhm.
wow, thank you all for coming. But what I was going to say is that technology wasn't a big thing when I was in my
Mhm.
formative years, from like 1 through say 20. Okay. Um, and so if we were going to socialize with someone, my mom would pick up the phone and she would call Mrs. Jones and say, "Hey, hi, Sherry would like to play. Can Zoe come out? Or can, we come over, or whatever." Or she would just shove me outside, and then whoever was outside, those were my friends. And everything was done in person. I couldn't Amazon order a gift and ship it to Texas. We would actually try to get together for special occasions or holidays, that sort of thing. So everything was face to face. And then as technology grew and we were able to do emails, and then everybody has a phone now in their palm. Hi, JP. Welcome in, sweetheart. Guys, JP does some awesome music. And if you could, head on over to his page and have a listen, that would be great. I'll drop the link. He's actually in my outro music. He did that
Hi,
for me.
Jonesin.
Jonesy. Hi,
Hey,
baby.
Jonesy.
I am curious to know, have either of you been in, cuz we're talking kind of more so on the internet side of things, but have either of you been in a chat where you have felt yourself get like you can't control your emotions when you're chatting?
Um, no, I
No,
don't.
me neither.
I don't.
I don't chat
Probably.
a lot. I'm not like but I don't, I'm not a big, I don't like texting. I mean, it's great. My friends don't like it, but I just don't, I just think that there's so much like lost in translation with texting. Like when people want to start like a texting conversation, I call them, like I'm like, let's just
Yeah,
talk. I don't
this
know.
this is something that we need to talk about. But like
But
in a chat,
everybody's different with that. Some people love to like chat and text and they come across really clear with, and I'm sure there are people that get very emotional. You could see it in what happens in chats, but like
hmm
sometimes it's like a misread chat. It's a misread word or there's no punctuate, so people read it with different inflection tones, and you know what I mean? Like it's so
yeah,
that leads to, I think, a lot of miscommunication and like unnecessary problems sometimes, and
So
yeah.
for me, I of course I come from a generation where it's all text and no phone calls.
hmm
So that could be what it is. So for me, I actually appreciate like being able to have conversations in the chat, probably more so than being on panel most of the time. Um but I think where I see like I love to have like yesterday Willow and I were in the comments when Skeptic and Heels were talking,
hmm
and there were parts that we agreed upon with each other and parts that we disagreed with them on. I love to have a good kind of debate of like meeting of the minds kind of conversation in the comments. But
Yes.
I just don't take that somebody else has. I think that's one of the biggest issues is it's almost as if you can't have your own opinion. You must agree with me kind of a thing. And I think that that's why there's a lot of people who like I have connected with through this because we can agree. Like at the end of this conversation, we can agree to disagree. And there's no love lost. There's no like hard feelings. There's no emotions in it. It's a conversation.
Yeah, because everybody's so different. And I think that goes
Yeah.
back to like just understanding that we're different, like what Steph B does, like understanding our differences would really solve so many because people always want like, and we just do it naturally. We put ourselves into somebody else's shoes because we're like, oh my God, well, if I was Dylan, I would have called 911. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
we do all these
Yeah.
things and we project how what happened in our past, whatever like tragedy we might have gone through, loss, like whatever experience we've gone through, we like project that into things, you know? And I think that's where the danger is. Like if we just like, oh wow, like you're different. And so you might have experienced things this way. And that's why you come to this point and this, you know, like that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, voices, welcome
Hey
up.
voices, what's up?
Hey. Well, I thought this was kind of a fitting discussion, given that I'm the group's borderline bipolar that has probably the worst behavior, member of the group that has the worst behavior.
Oh
No
no. Yep.
Sassy
voices.
since birth had a good point. I like what they said. They said sometimes I think people redirect their emotions online and not necessarily in a good way.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that
I would
100%.
100% agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather have
Uh,
somebody text me just something quick, because I don't want to talk on the phone. I talk on the phone all day for work, and whatnot. And oh, got all kinds of people joining. Hang on just a second. So I'm going to show this real quick. Self-awareness, and Don K is joining us. Don, you up here?
Yep, I'm here.
There you are. Hi, babe. What's up?
I'm mute. Oh, not much. I just finished loading up the rest of Easter dinner in my car to take home and fix it.
Yeah, so we were talking about emotional intelligence and how to control our behaviors and our reactions, whatnot. So that kind of leads us directly into the second part of this, which is self-awareness, where you recognize your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behaviors. You know your strengths, your weaknesses, and have self-confidence. So that was something that I had trouble with probably in my early 20s because I didn't recognize my own emotions.
Mm.
Because I was told as I was growing up, basically, don't be such a crybaby, walk it off. Unless the bone is sticking out of the skin, you don't need a doctor.
Suck it
Yeah,
up and soldier on. Suck it up
Yes,
yeah.
and soldier on.
exactly. And so what that did is help me learn to repress all of my emotions, and I didn't process them correctly, and when you do that, you're not really aware of the fact of how they're affecting your thoughts and your behavior. So if you hear something and you come unglued, then there's something deeper into that than just what that person said. Because I've learned that they don't pay my bills,
Right.
they don't live in my brain.
Yep.
They can
Not
have
going to
their
find you at the
opinion.
grocery store or the post office.
Yeah. See, my
Yeah.
my thing is when I'm texting, I'm talking in my head, and it drives me crazy. So I'd rather be talking to someone than texting with them.
Yeah.
It,
Well, if it's something in depth, yeah,
right.
definitely.
See,
Um,
I think the benefit to texting, right, is, and maybe that's why, I don't know, just in my opinion, but I think that's why I prefer it is because I can type out a text and then I can pause. I can
Yeah.
reread it to make sure, like, is there any, like, if I'll reread it in the maddest tone possible to see, can
Yeah.
this really be taken wrong? And then I'll delete a word and put a different word there. Like, I can actually, like, double check that my message is getting across. Whereas
Right.
if I'm in a conversation, I can think before I speak, right? But in the middle of a conversation, you don't have as much time to process what you're saying, how you're saying it, the tone you're using it in, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, 99% of the time when people's feelings are hurt, right? And odds are it's because the person just said what they wanted to say in the
Yeah,
moment,
because
right then.
sometimes your mouth overrides your brain. And yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So I
It,
think that's why, like, text, email, chat, anything like that is like, for me,
That
I'm
works
able
better.
to control my
I mean,
message so much better
yeah.
and make it a
Right.
lot more successful of an outcome of a conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, obviously I don't always get it right, but I think that's why I prefer it, is because I can control how it goes.
Well, we're human. We
yeah.
all
I
make mistakes,
struggle with
you know.
that. I'm the opposite.
I
I
would.
would rather have, I want somebody to hear my inflection because my
Yeah.
tone gets misconstrued all the time. I mean,
Right.
I already sound like a fucking lawnmower. I know, I know.
I
Well
think it's a
aware.
big,
Stop
it
it.
happens to a lot of people. Like
Yeah, it does.
tone is tone. Like you can't, and everybody's tone is different. Everybody's words are used differently. Like it's just, there's so much that could go wrong. Like, but not like when I have, like, I use it for business all the time. When it's something simple, like, can you do this? Are you available?
Right,
Like little things that are like very easy that you don't want to pick up a phone and call because it's like a simple
right,
yes, no. Like, could you get the milk from the store? Stuff like that.
right,
But
right.
like, when it involves like anything more, especially if you're like having like a text fight with somebody, that's what happened to me
Oh,
with this contractor. And it was just like, oh my God, like you would never ever say that to anybody in person, let alone on the phone. But like, there's a barrier that's taken away, and
Mm-hmm.
like
that's
people could be like mean. And like, that's, I think, what made me realize like that's part of the problem with, not the problem, just like one of the things that happens in these YouTube streets, that because it
Mm-hmm.
takes away this layer
yep.
that protects us.
Yep. And that's Ellie, I wanted to say something. I am so sorry. I've been going back because I've been doing some self-reflection and trying to grow because I'm coming into my 47th year on the planet. Um, so I wanted to apologize to you. It seems like I'm always overtalk you, and I am so sorry.
Oh,
That
you
is not
never
my
do.
intent. Oh,
No,
I went back and I listened and I always
no,
am over talking. I am
no,
so sorry. That is
no. You're
never my
good,
intent.
girl. You're good. I think panel talking is like an art. I feel like we all kind of like,
Yeah.
right? Some people are really like, or like throughout time, as you do it more, it gets easier, I guess, right? No, I never would
Yes.
ever think that voices. I love to hear what you have to say always. And,
Oh, honey, I am so grateful for you.
I like the
Yeah.
self-awareness one that you have up, Grandma Sherry, right now.
Hello
Um,
tonight.
I
Yes.
think it really, like, I think this is probably the number one thing that people are lacking.
Yes. And that's why I wanted to go this way, is because I think as people go along through life, and we're taught, like when we go to work, okay, this is how you do your job. And if you're in customer service or if you're customer facing at all, hopefully they have some customer service training on how not to treat people like shit. Um, but the thing is that we have to recognize our own emotions, because I too have something where uh, I'll work in insurance claim now where somebody was killed because of my driver, or somebody is now quadriplegic. On the opposite side, I'll have somebody who has slipped in the grocery store, and they're claiming that they need $10,000 for their injury, but they haven't seen a doctor yet. And you know so there's such a range of emotions going on within me, that I needed to really focus on my self-awareness and how my emotions are, where they are. And if I feel triggered by something, I really need to stop. And fortunately, a lot of situations you can say, you know what, let me get back to you on that, or I need to do some research on that, or let me think about it, and step away. Because if you're feeling something negative within yourself, step away. And
Step away. That's a
that's
big
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
That's the
just,
biggest.
you know, just log off, you know, take a break.
exactly.
Practice
Sorry,
law.
guys, I'm getting groceries out of the car, so.
No, that's okay. And that's why, as a mod, I have started putting something in there saying, please take care of yourself. If you find that these things are difficult to listen to, click out, come back. We understand. We'll see you another time. Because oftentimes we have FOMO. We're the fear
Yeah.
of missing out on something. And fortunately on YouTube, everything's on a replay.
Yeah.
Unless of course it's privated, but then again, you can find out somewhere else. But if you're having something and it's making you feel uncomfortable, there's something wrong with it. You need to stop and do some introspection. Like, okay, she said that and it really pissed me off. And, don't call me a liar, because I know that I heard it on XYZ's channel. And, then we ask somebody to bring receipts and all that kind of stuff. Stop. Where is that coming from? And that's when we need to look down and we need to know our strengths and our weaknesses. Our strengths are the things that we absolutely know that we know that we know. That I'm honest, that I'm trustworthy, that I'm whatever the things.
Plus, you have to
Yeah.
be careful in certain chats and all because there are people that come in and they know how to push your buttons.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
that's when I'm
Mhm.
like, see ya, you know.
Yeah, so
I
if
mean,
the button is pushed, let's find out
hmm
why it's pushed. I mean, there have been
Yeah, that
okay, I'm going to give you a stupid example, okay? Um, for a while, when people would mention geese, it would trigger me. It's
mention
not
what?
geese, like
Oh,
gooses,
okay.
gooses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would trigger me. And I don't know why. Oh, I've got somebody down here, baby. I'm sorry. I didn't even see you down there.
Well, I know why they used to trigger me. You
Heard.
know, when we were little and stuff, my grandmother, great grandmothers, we used to have to go to the outhouse, and she had geese that used to chase you and nick you in the butt.
Oh,
So,
well,
you know.
um, hi, Bob.
Hi, bud.
Burden. I can't hear you, babe. Unmute, sweetheart. Burden.
Burden of proof.
Yeah,
I love her. Where are you, Burden?
me
There she is.
too. Hey, baby. Can you hear us? I can't hear you.
She's not talking.
she's
Unless
not
she's
Oh,
on mute
okay.
and she's
muted.
not talking. I wonder if maybe she's not fully connected. Maybe.
Probably.
It doesn't
I'm
say
gonna mute again.
not
I have an
connected, but
echo, don't I?
Oh,
do
there
you?
we go.
Oh, no, you're good.
You don't hear
Oh,
an echo?
no.
No. Nope.
No.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Burden.
Hi,
Hi.
Bob.
Uh, let me finish this right quick, and then we'll dig in.
Okay.
But when people would mention geese, I would feel triggered, and I was like, "What in the freaking world? What is it about geese?" I was never attacked or anything like that. But as I was doing some reflection and whatnot, I came across that, and I realized that when I was growing up, my mom used to tell me all the time, "You don't have the sense God gave geese." And that hurt me back then.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would,
So
yeah, that would.
it could come down to something as small as
Right.
that, or
Yeah. That
that
you just
like,
Oh,
associated with the word. And when you heard the word, you would get
yeah.
that feeling. Right.
yeah, like
It
grain
would trigger that emotion, yeah.
grain is triggered by Star Trek. I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay.
You never know what it's going to
That
be.
darn Dr. Spock.
Yeah, that was me, Mr. Spock. What's up, Burden? How are you, baby?
Hey, I'm kind of sick actually, but I'm okay.
Aw.
This is a good conversation though. Customer service wise, I'm now triggered by other people's behavior, and then I have to step in and handle it. I can do that. When I feel personally attacked or misunderstood, is when I will get a trigger.
Yeah.
And I recently, not that recent, but did have a reaction rather than a response. And I've stepped back and will only wait to respond. But I actually wanted to ask, how long do you think is an appropriate time to wait
Mm.
between their statements and your response before it becomes disrespectful, you're ignoring them, or well, you should have spoke up sooner, is what I've got back
That's
is,
a
well, we
touchy
already
one.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would kind of depend upon the circumstance and
Hmm.
what you were dealing with, what they had said, because oftentimes people say things that are hurtful to us in order to elicit a reaction. And it sounds like what you do is respond rather than react.
Right. And
So,
the one
Well,
time that I did react, I regretted. I just put my whole self out, and then I had to explain, okay, here's what's going on, and had to
Yeah.
explain stuff that's kind of personal to me that I don't want everybody in the entire YouTube land knowing. Not
Yeah.
yet. I mean, it's just about like, mental health things and whatnot. But
I I think there is a difference though. So like for example, I do something today that, hurts your feelings or it feels like a personal attack to you, right? And you feel some type of way about it. Tomorrow we're on a panel and we're just, hey, burden of proof, how's it going? Good, Nunya. We're, kiki kaka is what I call it. Like just like nothing has ever happened. And a month from now you're on a panel saying how I hurt your feelings, but you never talk to me about it. You never told me about it. I think it's important that while you process your feelings, and I'll give the example. I had a situation a couple of weeks ago where like I was absolutely like I was furious by, in a group chat by text message. And I chose silence for about 48 hours. And I didn't talk about anything during that time in that group chat because I needed time to process my thoughts and my feelings. When I returned to the chat, um I was able to say, hey, look, like we got to talk this out, like this is how I'm feeling, this is how it felt when you said this. And my only responsibility is to put out how it made me feel. I also go in with an expectation that nobody is in charge of my feelings except for me. So if nobody owns that their words were hurtful or misunderstood or anything like that, I have to go into that conversation with the ability to accept that me just owning my feelings in this situation is enough.
Hmm.
yeah, because a lot of people think that they're going to change somebody's thinking or
Right.
they're
Never.
going to explain themselves and the other person's going to feel regret and remorse and they're going to apologize,
Hmm.
which typically doesn't happen because people that are not aware of their own self, why they originally said something or why they presented something, are going to double down on, you know, triple down, quadruple down
Yeah, totally.
on the hurtful thing that they've done or said in a defensive mechanism.
Yep.
they
They're not,
do. Yeah,
yeah,
because I tend to get back that well, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that. And it's like,
Mm.
it's not that
Ugh.
I didn't tell you. I couldn't. For me
Yeah.
to tell you in a respectful way, I needed to take time to calm and sort through everything and then know what I do want to share, how I want to handle myself when having the conversation. But I get back in return, well, how would we? You didn't tell us. You stopped speaking. And it's like, yes, because I was
Mm.
trying to respond and not react. It's
Yeah,
not
I mean, I,
Exactly.
offensive.
I mean, for me, it would kind of, I don't know. Every circumstance is different. Every person's reaction. There's a lot of people who they don't
Yeah.
like confrontation. They don't like to be called out on their bad behaviors, and so they become very reactive or responsive, which doesn't make for very productive conversations.
Yeah.
But like to me, it's a difference, right? So like. Are we talking you took a couple of days to think about it? Or are we talking about you came back months later to talk about that conversation we had 6 months ago?
Oh yeah, no, not a couple months. Like about a week span or maybe two,
Yeah.
but about a week or two, yeah, where I just have to completely, and I'll still go and interact in different rooms, and I'll still go and support them, if they have a channel, and and keep everything civil, because I
Yeah.
am a nice person. I want to be kind, and even if a relationship is coming to an end, I want it to end civilly.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
I've realized that some don't, and it turns very
Some just don't. It's just
vile.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I
I
think
don't know.
maybe just being cognizant that, like, you taking that week or 2 weeks or however much time you needed to be able to process your thoughts and your feelings is emotional intelligence. And
Exactly.
anybody who is against or wants to put a time frame on may not be dealing with that same level of maturity when it comes to emotional boundaries.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sassy since birth said this. I think it's important to be able to convey your emotional boundaries.
Absolutely.
Like you were talking about explaining to them some things that were personal to you. And depending upon the closeness of the relationship, sometimes you don't know people's shit, you know?
Not
You could,
everybody gets to be your vault friend. You only need one or two of those in there.
right.
Yeah. And on YouTube, I think there's like a less, like a lower standard. I hate to say it, but like burden you
Right.
waiting like 2 weeks for something. I feel like that is completely in the range on in a YouTube kind of friendship or whatever, relationship where like there's like everything is like so different with times. Like, is it time sensitive? And if you just needed time, like to not react, that's everything. Cause like it could be something that is a few minutes or it takes a couple hours, a couple of days, and it's just, I think it's different for each situation, truthfully, but
Well, a day is
Exactly.
a week on YouTube. A week is a month.
yeah,
I mean,
totally.
you
2
know, and
weeks
a
on
month
That's
is
YouTube is
true.
nothing. Yeah.
And so
I
by
mean,
you
taking is,
taking by
yeah,
you taking a 2-week time period, that's almost 2 months to respond. And that's the unfortunate part about this digital platform. If you
yeah,
wait any more than a 24-hour time period to clap back or respond however you choose to however you choose to address it, the unfortunate side of that is somebody's well onto something else and they've forgotten about that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
or
And
they fill
Yeah.
in the
that's the
holes with
sucky part.
their own stuff,
Well,
which is,
what I get back is that I'm still hung up on it. Well, they said, well, I've moved past. I'm not. You're hung up on that. No, I never even said my piece on it yet. I haven't even spoken on it.
Right.
And I make sure to frame when I speak to them like I'm not upset over the situation. I'm over it, but I do want to have closure with you and express how I was feeling in the moment and why I felt that way
Right.
and in what ways maybe I was hurt. And I make sure I let them know before I say a word about it so they know I'm not coming in to pick up where and start fighting
Right.
and I still will get well we didn't know, you didn't say anything, and it's like why, it's kind of where
Okay.
it ends up. Yeah.
So because of the
Well, that's
2-week
what.
thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately that's what's happening. Because you chose in kind, you chose the high road, so to speak.
Right.
They're looking at it as, oh, well, she's still hung up back here because now I'm on to X, Y, and Z,
Huh.
and she's still back here. And that's not right
Well,
either, Burden. Not by any means. That's
yeah,
crap.
well, some people think it's their right, it's their freedom of speech or whatever, that everything that goes through their brain has to be said.
Absolutely.
And that's not the case at all.
right.
So
Yeah.
some people just pee on your leg and say it's raining, or they just have a drive-by shitting, and you happen to have been the
Oh,
target that it
Lord.
landed on.
That's
See,
perfect, Grandma.
my problem
That
is,
is
Grandma
perfect.
shares.
I've never heard that
My
before.
my problem is I don't have to say anything. If I'm face to face with somebody, all you do is look at my eyes. I tell you, I could sprain my eyes 32 times a day rolling with people. I swear.
right. Me too.
Yeah,
I would say,
At some
I've
And
been
point,
I've got huge eyes.
well,
I've been
at some point, I'm afraid they're going to get stuck back there. Like
Yeah,
I experienced life at a series of 40 what the fucks per minute, and I'm like, I roll the ice.
guys are on more of a diet than I am.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I say that I've bruised my forehead from face palming so much.
Right.
right.
Uh,
So
Um,
burden of proof. Um, some unsolicited advice for you is don't allow somebody else to dictate when your feelings should be allowed to be expressed.
Mhm.
If you take that time to process your feelings, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, then I think that that is you getting through those emotions, processing how you feel about things. When you're ready to speak on it, that's part of it, is part of having healthy boundaries. But when you're ready to speak on it, if they attempt, what I feel like from the way you describe it, is gaslight you. Well, I'm already over it, so you shouldn't even be talking about it. They do not get to have that power and control over your emotions. You are in control of your emotions. And so
Yeah.
I think I would just say, don't let somebody, because they're over it, dictate that you need to be over it. Like, take
Yeah.
your time to
Absolutely.
process, have your
Exactly.
feelings, feel your feelings, and then go from there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man, you're super
Because a lot
smart.
of these people who say, "Oh, well, I'm over it,"
They're not.
that's because,
Yeah.
they already did the shitting on you, you
Hmm.
know, and they're fine and they just move on and they don't realize that there has been some kind of destruction that they caused. And so if they're over that, that doesn't matter because you were the person that was victimized or you were the person that was hurt and you get an equal opportunity. And like Tony
Right.
says here,
Their
there's
voice.
no expiration date on disrespect. And
No.
sometimes we need time to gather the right words. So it takes time. So
Yes.
let them wait.
Right.
And
Hmm.
Absolutely.
when when you approach them, when you respond, you let them know. They're like, "Oh, I'm over it. Don't worry about it." I'm not, because this hurt me and this is why.
Well, if they were truly over it, they would be willing to listen to your amends.
Of
Well,
course.
voices, I mean, I used to go in our back chat and rage like crazy before I'd go out and say something.
Yep.
I'd reel it in, go in the back and did, and then give it 24 hours, and
Yep.
I didn't act on impulse.
And
That's
and
my
that's
yep.
I'm s- I'm sorry. Go ahead, voices.
Well, I was just gonna say that's my new I'm practicing the pause.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
rather
Yeah.
than sit on the panel all day and have to sit there and bite my
Mhm.
tongue, and then when I click off, because I see all the comments, the good ones, the bad ones, the mean ones, the hurtful ones, like, I mean, in the mods, I can't ask them to, like, extra police because there are people that don't like me. I've heard the other comments that have been said around, so I decided that I was just gonna practice the pause.
Right.
And I
And that's
will pull myself back. Yep. And when I no longer feel triggered by those comments that are rolling by, then that means I've grown because I've deeply reflected and found out what it was, and then I'll come sit back up on the panel. But until then, right now, I'm in a time of this is a difficult time in my life for me. Today's the day I lost my grandpa 15 years ago. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I live here in their home. I've grandma's got her health stuff. I've got my own health stuff. So rather than me being upset about something externally, bringing it in, already
Right.
having a cocked trigger, I'm going to pull back and I got to do things that'll make me de-escalate because I'm the only one that has control of my
Right.
emotions, right?
Right. Right. I'm
exactly.
sorry for your
And
loss, by
that's
the way.
Oh, honey,
yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that. It's just
You're
shit
not
all the
alone.
way around.
You can do that. Yeah.
Can I share a quote with you really quickly? So the quote says, "The only people who get upset when you set boundaries are the people who benefited from you having none."
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes. Amen to
Hey,
that.
that's that.
Yeah. So the good thing about the pause is what I think a lot of people need to learn is that, and I say this all the time, is it true? Is it kind? Does it need to be said? And one of the things when in corporate America, when you're dealing with people that don't have excellent writing communication skills, is you
Mhm.
tell them you can actually type out the burn ass email, with all the stuff in it. You're a fucking idiot. I don't know why you thought blah, blah, blah. Don't send it. Put it in draft.
Yes,
Let
Grandma
it
Sherry, that's what I do a lot, and I have been doing it kind of recently, as everything was going on, that I would respond back. But I did. One of you were speaking earlier, saying that you reread your text before you send it to make sure that it doesn't sound any kind of bad way. I do the same. And so if I'm speaking my feelings or opinion on something, I tend to be like, because I don't want to make waves. I do have a big problem based off childhood trauma, and things that have happened in my life that I don't want to upset. And like, I don't know if it's people pleasing, I don't know what it is, but I don't want to upset anybody and make them angry at me or yell at me. And obviously, if I'm saying some type of thing that's where I find they fell short in a certain place or hurt me in some way, I feel like it's pointing my finger at them, and I will not send the message. Or I think, will I feel differently in the morning? And so I don't send it, and they send as many awful things as they want to me, and
Yeah.
I wait, and come the next day, I
Just ignore
never
them.
send it.
Yeah.
I never send it.
Right?
I have a
It's so
ton of
good.
drafts that I've never sent.
So good.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel, I don't know, I mean, I feel like I've always tried to be the peacemaker, and that gets me in trouble in a lot of ways because I get pulled in the middle of things. I mean, it's, I don't mind helping people talk things out and everything, but when they throw it back at me, like, oh, you started this, it's like, no,
I think there's a difference though. There's a
like trying to
mediator
be
and a
peacemaker.
peacemaker.
Yeah, right.
So, and they kind of play different roles. Peacemaker is trying to force there to be peace. A
Yeah,
mediator is just trying to open the door for communication.
right. And then you open the door, and half the time they start, they don't like it and they slam it in your face, and I just walk away. Okay, figure it out on your own. Then it turns around later. They come back, and it's like, but I mean, there's a lot going on this platform that didn't used to go on this platform, and it's gotten scary.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will agree with that.
Gotten
Vernon,
dangerous.
the method that you're using is called gray scaling, gray rocking. It's not engaging with the person in the toxic behavior, and it's letting them say, you're not validating what they're saying. You're saying, I hear you.
Right.
Goodbye.
Yep. But girl, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
right.
bye. Either
And you
way.
just don't even you can't even this thing that just happened with me. It's just like you can't even give any energy
Nope.
to any of
Right.
it, or else
By
it's
the
just
end
gonna
of it, yeah, you realize that no
fuel.
matter what you say, it's just not going to
You'll
change
always
a
be the asshole.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And
they're
then
only
another.
listening. They're only listening to respond. They're not listening to
Yes.
understand and relate and try to come to an agreement, a mediable situation. They want to gaslight you and make you, oh, well, I'm over it. You need to be over it too.
Right.
And the other thing I would say is, you mentioned, you don't know if it's a people pleaser kind of thing. You just want everybody to be okay with you kind of a thing. What I would maybe encourage again, and I'm no professional, so I'm just giving my, again, unsolicited advice here, but find a way to be okay with being somebody's villain in their story.
I've been a scapegoat my whole life. It took me till my adult years to realize that my father put me in that role, as scapegoat, and that is why I do have such an emotional reaction when I feel misunderstood or I don't get validation in how I am feeling. I spent my whole life trying to prove things for my father to give validation or to
Well, that's
understand,
understandable. Yeah.
and
And
so I
and really, a lot of our emotional intelligence, it does come from our experience.
Absolutely.
Yep. And our patterns and how
And
we
our,
react,
like
How
our
we were
behaviors,
raised.
all of that kind of stuff comes from, it does stem from, some of it is childhood, some of it is life experience, some of it is broken relationships, being a broken person. Like, it can come from so many different factors, but all of those
and then you add
end up
in
making us like who we
personality
are.
disorders. You add in a personality disorder. You add in mental health that's not well managed. You add in people with mental health that's well managed, but they don't realize that it's really not. I mean, there's 1,000 other things that come in and play on top of all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
What's good
Nicole
for
B
you?
said at some point you have to walk away. The round and round is not good. I agree.
Right. And it takes such a toll. I just get so wore down with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Honey,
Yeah,
you know
and
what?
that
Matthew McConaughey said, even Matthew McConaughey, some of the biggest named actors out there, it doesn't matter. You are not going to please everybody all of the time.
Never.
Yeah, but
Never.
for a
Never.
It's a
people pleaser, they don't. I
I
don't
get
think,
it.
and I'm not saying you are one, but they can't like people who aren't people pleasers. In my opinion, they don't understand what it's like to just
I'm a
want to
recovered
have
people pleaser.
peace with everyone.
I know.
Right.
I'm a
Like
recovered people pleaser.
I have
I
a
get
bunch
it.
of people that will want the best for me and mean the best for me. My closest relationships that will say, walk away, end it, drop it, it's done, forget them. They've done this, 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 this. And I hear them and they're right, but I can't ever cut that tie. I give
It's
them
easier
chance
said than
after
done all the
chance.
time.
I know I do the same thing. I just
Yeah.
you want more in people. You want people to like kind of, see
You
the
don't
light or
want people to
whatever it
show up
is.
for
Yeah.
you. You
my
want
turn.
people to cross oceans for you want to because you know that
Grandma
you would
Sherry
cross
said,
an
"Everybody
ocean.
be quiet."
My
Oh,
turn. I'm sorry. Part of my autism is that I don't know when to interject into a conversation.
Right.
And so if I need you guys to be there and kind of give me room and a pause uh, to enter into the conversation, or you need to bring me in. I'm sorry. It's stupid, but it's something that I need. But anyway, so that was a rabbit trail.
That's
No,
fine. Fine.
what I was thinking is that with burden and what's going on with you, that makes me think of the people who murder their wife instead of getting a divorce. Everybody says cut
right.
them off, walk away, that kind of thing. And burden, you have a soft heart, and you don't want to end everything. You just don't want to cut them out of their
Yeah.
life. Hey, B Tim, how are you, sweetheart? I hate you, honey. I hate you. Happy Easter.
But if that person, Grandma Sherry, if that person is not willing to respect the boundaries that you've put in place, what other option do you have? Because you know that when it comes to being a friend, you have to play by their rules then, because they
No,
won't respect your rules. So how do
no,
you
no,
deal with
no, 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 no. True friends
Right.
happen organically over
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and rather than because here on the internet, or even if we talk to each other on the phone or text or FaceTime or whatever, it's still not a real friendship. It's not a real relationship. So when we reach somewhere in where our paths diverse, and you think this way, you think that way, a lot of times it comes down to miscommunication, and that is something that takes time. It's like a plant. It needs to grow. It needs to get a good root system. I mean, I have a friend where we can say the raunchiest, nastiest stuff to each other, but because we have this track history behind us of how many times we've been there for each other, and how many stupid, things we've done, and how many times that she's pulled my ass out of trouble, I have all that history for it. And if we didn't have that, if we just had the the Disney on Ice extravaganza looking thing where everything was perfect all the time and it was an absolute performance, we wouldn't have had that connection, because we've had times where we had rough patches, and it almost always was a miscommunication. Because somebody said this to them, or somebody told them I said this, and that was not the case. And hey, Jeannie, how are you, babe? Welcome in. So, and we're in a microwave popcorn society. we want everything to be resolved, within the 1 hour show of CSI, or, we want everything to be done within, 3 minutes. And real humans, real life, that doesn't happen. It takes a while. And I think if there's anything that I can add to this conversation right now, is that no matter how much you disagree with somebody, if you're friends, if you're close, then you need to at least come to one agreement that our relationship is important, and we need to maintain this while we work
Yes.
through the rest of that. I'm done.
Grandma
Well, no, I
Sherry,
have to
first
follow
off,
up.
I just want you to say that I appreciate so much you setting the boundaries of what you need. So I appreciate that because I don't know what you need unless you speak it. And
Right?
second, I don't think it's stupid at all that that's the way that you process and you need space made for you in the room.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought
that part of my autism is social awkwardness.
Grandma
Mm.
Sherry,
Yeah, babe.
what was it that you were asking? I forgot exactly what we're typing for the gift card. I was gonna put that in chat, but I forgot what
Oh,
IE something.
exclamation
Mm,
point EI,
okay.
emotional intelligence.
Thank you.
Yeah. Doing a gift card drawing if you came in late. Thanks, everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody saying hi.
Grandma Sherry, I'm
But
gonna have to jump off because I'm getting ready to do my sauce and everything. It's gonna be really loud and muting back and forth and stuff. That way somebody else can come up. Okay, hon?
okay, thanks, Dawn. I appreciate you
Yeah.
joining.
I just want to tell everybody Happy Easter.
Happy
Happy Easter,
Easter.
honey.
I'll be down in chat. Bye.
Okay, bye.
So I have a follow up then
Yeah.
to that. So what happens if when you are taking this break and on your pause and then you realize maybe it's not a good fit? Maybe you were trying to force a friendship.
Okay.
What do you
Then I believe that organically you'll know that. You'll know that. I mean, and I'm just going to be transparent with everything as I go along, because I have made a lot of really fucked up mistakes. Okay.
Oh, you're talking to the princess of them, honey.
Oh, darling, I'm your reigning queen. I am your sovereign. So I've actually married people that I thought were, yeah, we could work on this, and reason after reason after reason or whatever. And I ended up being abused, sometimes physically. I was with the narcissist, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so the thing is that if you just give it time, if you let it grow, then you can probably avoid those things. But if you get into a thing where, hey, yeah, we're buddy buddy, and we're at the same goal and whatnot, and then your paths diverge, then yeah, bye. We can still be acquaintances. We can still talk to each other, whatever the case may be. But that doesn't mean that that person is, like you say, and like Brene Brown says, voices, your vault person.
Right.
That's not yeah.
I just know that there are a lot of times, and you get things dumped. Being a creator, being somebody who is very vocal, you get a lot of people come to you and they talk to you about things. And I'm really bad about that because those emails are the ones I avoid like the plague, because I am not like, I barely can make my own life choices. I am not a sound voice of reason out here. Like, I am one step away from a set of handcuffs and making a whole different set of life choices. I'm one step away from unplugging that jug and changing my life, all for the greater good of the worse. You know what I mean? I fight my own battle every day. I'm finding that I cannot be all things to everyone, and I just can't.
Yeah. Well, just real quick. Hi, Emmy, Headstones and Headlines. She is absolute amazing clip channel with Bullhorn Betty. If you guys haven't subbed to her, you might want to look her up and give her a sub. But um, and here's the thing: so many people think that they need. Hi, Rosa Lang. Oh my gosh, honey, hi. You've probably been here forever, and I haven't seen you. Um, but so many people think, and I'm just gonna um because it's just my thought process. I think people are cowards when it comes to dealing with somebody face to face. You know, they'll send you crap on this, or they said this about me, or look at what dirt I found on this person, or I would warn you about this person because they're X, Y, and Z. You know, that's not me. Does it have to do with me? Do I need to be in the middle of this? No. It's like Queen Bee's panel. She'll let anybody come up on panel, and they can bring whatever history, whatever kind of beef they have, and it has nothing to do with Queen. It's not Hive business. It's maybe something from 2 years ago,
Yeah.
you know? And she's gracious enough that she doesn't kick these people off and say that has nothing to do with me, because oftentimes there's an airing of the grievances. Remember Seinfeld and Festivus?
Yep.
Festivus for the rest of us, right? Part of their thing is the airing of grievances. And, where you sit around the table and you say XYZ, blah, blah, blah. That's a good thing. But it's a good thing to the person you have the grievance with, because otherwise it's just gossip.
Yeah, those like exercises where you say three things you like and three things you dislike about somebody. You're talking about stuff like
Yeah.
that. I did that. I remember when I was in track, and I didn't like it. I was like, I thought this was
Did you
like a
watch
bunch.
Laura last night? Ellie, were you
Yes,
watching Laura last night?
yes. It made me think of. I heard her. She did it with her kids on a camping trip, and I was like, oh
Yes.
my god, I did that like on like a track meet that we went on, and it like there you go back to your history, but like it like brought up these like, oh, I don't know what it is, because it was like you're not close with everybody. Maybe like to do that with like somebody that you're close with, or like in a it's such a weird exercise. I don't know. What do you guys think about that whole thing? Those kind
Well,
of
somebody like
exercises.
me with the borderline and the bipolar, when constructive criticism, it has to come in a specific type way. Otherwise, it breaks me every time.
Mhm.
And so if
So
somebody comes to me with three things that they like and one thing that they don't, that one thing is going to be the thing I focus on. And then if three more people come to me with three things that they like and one thing that they don't, suddenly now I have a list of things that people don't like about me.
Well, and
I
and
think
here's the point with that. If I can just interject here real quick. Um, Three things you like and one thing you don't. Um, in management training, and they have a really cute corporate word for it. I call it a shit sandwich. Okay. When you have to give feedback to somebody, you start with something good, you give
Yeah.
them the shit, and then you end with something
Mm,
good, which is the same thing.
yeah.
Only yours more sounds more like a club shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is that when you're telling somebody something, you have to separate out the person from what happened. You know, if I have a long history of being your friend and of showing you my loyalty and my commitment, and then I do something dumb fuck, then do you just focus on the dumb fuck thing?
can I say one thing here? One
Yeah.
thing I would say is, if you're, you said you're really struggling because you're getting messages and, you want to fix things and stuff like that. What I would say is, when you're getting those messages, reflect on two things, right? It's part of self awareness to me, and self management, even in that too. Is it is it something that you need to do, right? Or is it something that you want to do? Getting involved in something is self-aware. Okay, why is this message upsetting me to the point where I feel like I need to respond or react to it, because you have the choice to say thanks for sharing that and then leaving the email or the message at that point, and just leaving it at that. But if you instead choose to engage in it, then
Oh yeah,
that is where
don't.
you have to then, self reflect within yourself of, why am I making the choice to engage with this? Why, I know I've heard you, I'm listening to you talk, and it sounds like if getting constructive feedback is a struggle for you if it doesn't come in the right way, right? Which I understand that. But if that's the case, the more you insert yourself in things, that's the more feedback you're going to get. Right.
Yep.
So being self-aware of, okay, I know me, and I know that constructive criticism can be a trigger for me, and it makes me emotionally be in a place. Then, okay, how can I remove myself from some of these situations that are causing me to get this constructive feedback?
Like not reading the chat possibly, because that's where you get a lot of positive and negative things. And like,
Right. So like,
like
you have
Oh,
to
I'm sorry. Were you thinking that this? I'm sorry. I was taking that from a work perspective. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes, I was taking that from a work perspective.
I
Out
just brought
here,
it to the chat just to make an
right?
analogy just there,
Right, and that's when
Yeah.
I realized what you were saying. Like, no, honestly, my validation doesn't come from anybody on YouTube. Nope, not at all. I'm an everyday productive citizen. There's going to be people out here that like me. There's going to be people out here that don't like me. I've got my circle of friends. I'm not taking applications for new ones. So, like, anybody else's opinion of me, that's not my business. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. They can say what they want about me. I've come to that rationalization that they're going to go into anybody's life, and they're going to do whatever they want to do if they don't like you or they don't feel they can control you out here.
But
I
even on a professional level, right? Even on a
I don't
professional
work
level,
right.
you're
I don't
gonna
work
have,
anymore. I don't work
you may
anymore.
have
So
a customer, right, that comes and is like, hey, I got this product from you, or I got this service from you, and I'm unhappy with it, or whatever. You still have the choice of how you respond to it, even on a professional level. Obviously on a professional level, people react a lot differently than they do on a personal level or on a
Yeah.
social level.
Yeah.
But even in a professional level, you still have that choice of how you want to respond, or if you even want to respond.
Yeah.
You still,
yeah,
and if
response,
that
they give the same
feedback,
response
right? So
that I
let's
get from
just
you.
say, I know you craft, right? I don't know what your professional history is or work is, but let's just say with your crafting, right? Let's say you make something and somebody comes back and they're like, voices, this is not what I wanted, this is not what I asked for, like, I'm very unhappy with it, right? Let's just say. And so you then have the choice, to, I'm so sorry, I don't know how I got the design wrong, or like, how can I make this right for you? Or you have the choice to just not respond to it and like let it work itself out, because that what you did is what was asked for. You know what I mean? So I think that that's just like, no matter what level it's on, I think that like you still have the choice of how you respond or if you respond.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Rosalind says that I like to believe that as we gain years and get older, there comes a point where we make more mature choices. And that would be, I think, the ideal thing. I know that my dad is now 96 years old. Um, and he's still alive, and he still tells me stories about the Korean War, but he can't remember that he told me something at the beginning of the phone conversation, but that's fine. Um, but the thing is that he used to be a real asshole when I was growing up. He was racist, he was sexist, just absolute misogynist, and there was a period of time where he disowned me because I married a Latino guy. 7 years he wouldn't talk to me, didn't want to have anything to do with my sons, simply because they were Latino. And then once we moved on from that, and I divorced the boy's father and moved on with my life, we sort of reconciled. But the thing is that now he's at a place where, he's talked about going home to see Jesus for the last 20 years. And one of his older sisters died when she was 106. So he's got a while yet. But the thing is that now he's at a place in his life where he realizes the things that are actually important in life. And that's peace of mind. And that's, being grateful for what you
Absolutely.
have every day. That he's in a house and it's warm when it's snowy outside, and he has food in his belly, and he has my stepmom who's been with him for 30 something years, and I think we lose track of all of that a lot of times. Is we lose track of, we're people, we're all trying to human. We're all trying to get through our lives as sanely as we possibly can, and hopefully not do any damage to other people along our path. And I think that's what this conversation is about, is how can we do this? How can we, if there's just one person, hey Jen, happy Easter, sweetheart. If this helps one person, or if it helps us to do some introspection about, taking an inventory, why am I triggered? Why does that bother us? Step away and give yourself some time every day to think about life and to think about the things that are bothering you, and journal it down if you have to, or color. I have a coloring book that I use sometimes. But if we could all just learn to step back and to give that pause, maybe we wouldn't have stupid YouTubers in malls that are provoking people until they're shot. Was that the appropriate response? I personally don't think so. But the point is that we have so many of these things going on, and people have this tunnel vision of what's happening right now. I'm surviving, so I'm going to have to kill my child, or something along that line. And there's so much more that's out there if you open your mind, and if you stop and think about it. I'm done. I killed my panel. Oh my God.
No, not at all. I'm listening to you.
No, you were imparting words of wisdom, Grandma. It was like seeds going into open soil. It was like Sunday sermon. Like, you were speaking truth.
Right?
Hallelujah. The collection plate is coming through, and give from your heart and your soul.
Bless you, brothers and sisters. Bless you.
I heal you, sinner. I heal you.
Can I read
No,
one comment? So BC said, sometimes unless we tell others how we feel, we can't expect them to know.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's my whole thing. One of the first epiphanies I had when I was first in my counseling, after I got my autistic diagnosis, then I was in counseling. One of the first epiphanies I had was that people are not psychic. And I'll give you a really good example of that. When I was in junior high, I saw movies about people having parties and all this kind of stuff. And I asked my dad, hey, can I throw a party? And he said, yeah. And so, we got all this stuff together. We got the chips, the dips, the chains, the whips, all the normal stuff for parties. And then the night of the party, nobody showed up.
No.
Why? Yeah.
You too.
Why?
Who wouldn't
baby.
go with the whips and chains?
And the chips and the dip.
I know, right? Yeah. I mean, it's
I've
kind
had
of
a
weird
couple of those
science.
happen in my life too.
But
I can relate.
okay. And here's the reason why I told a couple of my friends, I said, hey, I'm going to have a party on Saturday. Come over, chips, dips, chains, whips. And for some reason, I thought that, like in the movies, it was just going to go like wildfire through the school and everybody's going to show up. It didn't. Why? Because people aren't psychic. They don't know. You have to tell them. If I wanted, 10 or 12 people, I should have actually reached out to those 10 or 12 people that I wanted to come, and I wasn't aware of that because I'm socially awkward. But yeah, we're not psychic. We need to tell people what it is we're thinking. We need to set our boundaries. We need to say, okay, I've had people tell me, uh, you did this one thing, and I can never trust you again, and there's nothing you could do or say that changes my mind. And I have to within myself, I have to know that that was something that was said out of emotion. I've addressed it as I could, and I have to leave it at that. And then actions after that show, that was something I call it poo sticks. The game where you're on a bridge over a stream and you have sticks and you drop them into the water and then you run to the other side of the bridge to see whose stick basically won, right? But the point about poo sticks is that they're gone. They just keep going. Willow, hey, sup? It's poo sticks. I mean, some things you need to dig in and you need to really handle it face to face and make sure that we're on the same ground. And other things you have to let them go. You have to let them go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi,
You gotta know
609.
when it's a time, when it's just like unhealthy or whatever it is. You just gotta know when it's right.
I'm really good at letting them go. I am really good at letting
I'm
it go.
not. It
I
has
do
to be
not carry
really
those
big
buckets
for
around
me.
with me anymore. Nope. And when my attitude gets shitty, it's because I've got loss of gratitude somewhere in my life, and I'm taking the first step. The first step to the pig pen is loss of gratitude. When you have lost everything in your life and you wake up in a homeless shelter one morning and you realize that you can never be the person that you were yesterday because today, this is your last chance to get it right. It puts your gratitude into perspective.
Well, and there's I think it's biblical. Love covers a multitude of sins. And if you love somebody, if you're committed to them, if you have the same sort of ideals, there are some things you just do. You just poo sticks them. You let them go. And if it's something that you need to address, you can't poo sticks it, then, address it and let it go, because we're not, more often than not in life, we're not going to come to this happily ending, happily ever after ending, like in the fairy tales or
Right.
at the end of season one, where, we walk into the sunset together, hand in hand, skipping. Oftentimes there's that stuff. Now, if we're at a place and it's kind of an unsaid mutual agreement that this is what we're going to do, we've said, thank you, BC. I appreciate you so much, honey. If it's something that, has been said and it's, your relationship is back to normal and you really do love each other as friends, as coworkers, whatever the case may be, if it gets brought up later, then obviously it wasn't resolved. And that's when it needs to be addressed.
Can I get the flip side of that? just in
Yeah.
the self-awareness side of things. One of the things, I actually was having a good conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about how, part of being self-aware is, I use the example of Molly, right? And so we already know there's a complete lack of self-awareness there, right? But one of the things that, like, I'm pretty mindful of is, when you look at her friendships, her business partnerships, right? Everybody she's friends with, there's a falling out at some point in time, right? And of
Hmm.
course, when that falling out happens, it's all them, it's everyone else, right? But it's like, when you look at the common denominator, there's all these different people with different personalities, different life experiences, but they've all fallen out with her, and she's the common denominator in there. And so I think that's where the self-awareness comes in. Sometimes when that relationship ends, yes, it has nothing to do with you, your choices, your words, the experience, anything like that. It has nothing to do with you. But if you find that that's constantly happening, where there's a falling out, for me, I try, when that's happening to me, I try and look at, okay, I'm the common person amongst these 4 different people I've fallen out with. Okay, I need to look at what part did I play in those fallings outs. Now, if I can walk away and say, okay, well, 2 of them, I didn't do anything in those 2, but these 2, okay, I need to make sure that moving forward, when I create a new relationship, friendship, whatever, a social connection, whatever, that I am mindful to not make that same mistake again.
Yes. Yes, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
I'm in love with you, Nanya. No, I'm not going to hug you.
Thank you. I was just about to say, I'm a little bit more like, I don't I'm not a B10 where, like, you have to hate me, but just like me.
Right. Yes. No, I like you. I like you. Of course, I'm a person that uses the word love incorrectly, because, like, I'll say, "Oh, I really love chocolate truffles and I really love my grandson." Um, so yes. No, like, I like you a lot. I appreciate your input, and we are coming up on 2 hours. I wasn't expecting to go this
Wow.
long. Yeah, I mean, I could probably talk about this forever. And oh, watch out. Sorry, my cat is
What are you going to
aw.
be talking about next, Grandma Sherry? What's your next topic that you're bringing up? Or are you staying on emotional intelligence for right now?
Yeah, because we haven't really delved into other 2 parts of it. We haven't delved into um, you know, cognitive reconstructuring of different
Oh my God,
different
That's the hard
what
part.
what is it?
Changing the
that is
pattern.
the hard part. Just
Yeah.
teaching yourself to learn a different thinking pattern.
Mhm.
I
Good
went
with
through.
it.
Yeah.
Stop
s-
and like regroup before you
Yep,
start.
Yes.
I went
So
through cognitive
kitchen
principles and restructuring. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, kitchen table, kind of discussing. So I'd like to continue this, because I think you guys brought out a lot of really good points today. And, and I love this bantering back and forth and the examples that we have, because I really think that we can all grow and learn from each other. And that's what I want the borough to be, is just a place. I swear, my cat. Okay, so if I yeet, it's his fault, because
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, I know I want the borough to be a safe place. I don't want it to be an echo chamber. I want it to be a safe place where we can come and we can share with each other and grow.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because I think, if anything, we need to continue growing, continue learning.
definitely.
And if there's anything, I want the world to be a better place. And if I can make it a better place just in my inner circle, hopefully that'll have a ripple
Yeah,
effect.
exactly. That's how I think
Absolutely.
of it. And this is the start, is just, kind of
I
getting to
say
know
it all
what
the
it
time in
is.
my lives and in my videos, like, be the change you want to see.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what this is for. Do ladies have any closing thoughts?
No, I like the series. I think it's amazing. I think more people need to hear it. I wish I would
Mhm.
have shared it before I got on panel. Um, but yeah, I think it's so important.
It's so important, especially I think in this space that we all kind of
Mm-hmm.
run around in. There's like a lot of it that's kind of dropped and not thought about, and people like act maybe not how they would out in real life, with the same set of emotional intelligence standards that they do on YouTube. And that's, I think, what like baffles a lot of us,
Oh,
me personally.
I'm struggling with this stuff right now. I'm just
Yeah.
struggling all over the place. So I've just shut down and pulled back.
Hi, Mel. Well, and that's, sometimes temporarily that's a really good thing to
Right.
to regroup
Yeah.
and regather and shut down and
Things have to
that
come to
sort
a
of thing.
head in a way sometimes, I think, in life. For like, sometimes you don't know it's an issue that's bothering you until it comes to a head, and then it gets resolved whichever way it's supposed to. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
and then
also
sometimes,
think a big part of being able to move forward and make changes, and it does mean that you are gonna mess up,
yeah,
right? Especially if it's something you've done for years, or it's a character trait that you've had for forever that just, I mean, yes, it's toxic, but it's what you know, right? And it's like ingrained in you. And
yeah,
fighting against changing that is really hard. And you
so
don't,
hard.
I mean, it's almost like changing your lifestyle, your eating habits, or weight loss, or anything that is a drastic change from something that you used to do. It is hard to break those habits, and you're not going to be perfect at it, but surrounding yourself with people who will speak the truth in love to you and will say, Ellie, you said you were going to work on this, whether it's friends, family, spouse, whatever. But hey, Ellie, you said you were going to work on this, and tonight I seen you do this. And you said you weren't going to cuss anymore, Ellie, let's just say. And I know you're really used to it. You said you were going to work on it tonight. You really missed you missed the mark. And being able to know that that person really does want to see you become the best version of yourself. Surrounding yourself with those people is important, because they're the ones who are not going to just tell you what you want to hear. They're not going to create that echo chamber for you.
Yeah,
And that's where change really happens, is from the pressure of, like, kind of that reminder that you said you were going to get it right. You missed the mark tonight. Let's try again tomorrow.
exactly. Someone who wants to help you grow for the betterment of you and the betterment of everyone. So yeah. Ooh, oh
yeah,
gosh. Hang on.
cat.
Oh, well, it's kind of past their feeding time.
Uh-oh,
They're
they're like,
still on daylight.
yo.
They're not on daylight savings time, right?
Mm.
So they started this shit at 3 o'clock.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So now they're actually fighting each other and biting each other's ears, because I was ignoring them. So, but real quick, yeah. So I'd like to continue this. Is Sundays at 3 good, or can we? Do we need another time, or
Oh, this worked fine for
This
me. I mean,
Yeah, this
whenever
time
you
is
go
good for
live,
me.
I'll come here.
I
I
really appreciate
Yeah.
I like your
every
message.
I really appreciate everybody coming in, on Easter Sunday, because
Thanks for
that's all
having
great.
us. It's been so nice. I love everybody up here so much. So it's been such a nice conversation, and just something that I think we deal with every day
Yeah.
on the YouTube streets, on the regular streets in our life. It's just something that we could all
Ex-
use more of.
yeah. And okay, so last chance, we kind of have a giveaway going on. I'm going to draw a winner once a week for the next 4 weeks out of the comments too for the replay crew, and give away a $25 Amazon gift card. Yes, that is a promotion in order to encourage you to come back. But uh, so if you want to enter, everybody right now, before I do this, type in exclamation part EI, like emotional intelligent, exclamation point EI. T. Marie, hi baby. No, there's always replay, crew sweetheart.
Grandma Sherry BC said note to self next week feed before live.
Yes. I'll no feed before live.
I woke up to cat food. Well, a little bit left. Most of it got eaten by all the cats because they knocked it down and popped the lid off of the cat food that's for one of my cats with a special diet.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I get it. I get the cats wanting their food and they want it when they want it.
Well, for some reason, one of my cats has this thing, and I don't know why, but like every morning, in middle of the night morning, about 3:30, he puts like one toe, he'll take one fingernail on my bottom lip and he'll pull it,
Oh my
which wakes
God.
me up.
Of course it does. Yeah.
And then he acts like, "What? Who did
What?
that? What?"
Yeah.
And he'll jump off the bed, he'll go eat, potty, drink, whatever. And then he acts like he doesn't know where I am. So he wanders around the apartment yelling.
Oh my God, animals are funny.
I'm like, "Well, your brother's not like that. Why are you so
Yeah, why are you
weird?"
touching my lip?
Yes.
I
Stop
know what I
touching me.
want to say, Grandma Sherry.
Mhm.
I know what I want to say. Laura, I didn't get kicked off Queen Bee's panel. I've been doing stuff for myself. So go be busy and don't worry about me, okay?
Is Laura in
Yeah.
chat?
Voices.
Is she
No.
here? Oh, okay.
Laura's not in
Just
chat,
in
no.
general. Okay. I was like, okay.
Just in general. Yeah.
Okay,
Hopefully she
okay.
never sees this.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay. Let me see. Yeah,
Oh,
there we go. Okay, so let's draw.
how fun in real time. Oop, slowing. Wow.
Rosalie! Rosalie is this week's
Oh.
That's so
winner.
exciting. I love how the confetti comes up.
How did you do that in StreamYard, Grandma Sherry?
She's
It's
fancy.
why not? StreamYard.com/giveaway.
Oh, fun.
That was so
Really?
cute. Yeah. Wow.
I
How
love
about
that.
Really?
that?
Go out to Google.
Congratulations, Rosa.
Yes.
Rosalie, you're this week's winner.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, babies. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No
Thank
problem.
you
Have
so
a good
much
rest of your day,
for having
everyone.
us. You too,
Thank you,
guys.
sweethearts. I really,
Bye,
really,
Grandma. Thank
really
you.
super appreciate it. I have enjoyed this so much. You have no idea.
Thank you for doing this, Grandma Sherry. It was a great discussion. Thank you.
Agreed.
I love you,
Yeah.
Burden.
Love you. I hope you all have a great Easter.
You
Happy
too.
Easter.
Thanks so
You
much.
too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for coming. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll continue this conversation. No. Don't email me yet. I'm just writing down names. At the end of 4 weeks, then what we'll do is draw the weekly winner, and then we'll email. But if you want to talk to me, you can email me. That's fine. I'm blathering. I love you all. I'm going to do my outro. This music is by J.P. Hansen, by the way.